Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the English Learning Podcast. I'm Sarah, and I'm so glad you're here with us today.
And I'm Bill. We're excited to share today's topic with you because it's something that can truly change the way you think and speak in English.
That's right. Today we're talking about something a little different but very powerful. How to talk in your brain.
It might sound a little funny at first, like talking in your brain, but what we really mean is learning how to practice English inside your mind by thinking in English instead of your native language.
Exactly. This is a skill that can help you stop translating word by word and start speaking more naturally and fluently.
And the best part is, you can practice it anywhere, anytime, on the bus, while cooking, before going to bed. No one even has to hear you.
Yes, that's the beauty of it. You don't need a partner, you don't need a classroom, and you don't even need to speak out loud at first. You just need your brain and some simple strategies.
So in today's episode, we're going to explain what talking in your brain really means, why it's so important, and most importantly, how you can start doing it right now.
Stay with us, because by the end of this episode, you'll have a clear step-by-step method to train your brain to think in English.
All right, let's dive in.
So, Bill, before we get into the steps, let's make sure our listeners really understand what we mean by talking in your brain.
Good point. A lot of people think it just means thinking silently. But it's a bit more than that. It's actually creating sentences, thoughts, and even small conversations in English inside your head.
Exactly. For example, imagine you're looking out the window and you see it's raining. In your native language, your brain might say, "Oh, it's raining, I need an umbrella." But when you train yourself to talk in your brain in English, you would say inside your head, "It's raining, I should take my umbrella."
Right. And the big difference is that instead of translating from your native language, you're directly forming the thought in English. That's what makes your speaking faster and more natural.
Yes, and it doesn't need to be complicated. Let's say you're hungry. Instead of thinking, "I am hungry," in your language and then translating, you just let your brain say in English, "I'm hungry. I want to eat something."
That's a great example. And here's another. Imagine you're walking to the bus stop. In your brain, you can narrate it like, "I'm walking to the bus. The bus is late. I hope it comes soon."
I love that. It's almost like you're having a small conversation with yourself.
Yes, and sometimes I tell learners, think of it like you're the narrator of your own life, but in English.
That's a perfect way to put it. So, to sum up, talking in your brain simply means practicing English silently by forming sentences, describing what you're doing, and creating little thoughts, all in English.
And the good news is, everyone can do it. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need a big vocabulary. You just start with what you know, and you grow from there.
All right, now that we know what talking in your brain really means, let's talk about why it's so important for English learners.
Yes, one of the biggest problems learners face is that they always translate from their native language into English. That makes speaking slow and stressful.
Exactly. I've had many students tell me I know the words, but when I want to speak, I get stuck. And the reason is usually translation. Their brain is busy going from their first language to English, and by the time they finish, the conversation has already moved on.
That's right. But when you train yourself to think directly in English, you cut out that extra step. Your brain doesn't need to translate, it just produces English naturally.
Yes, and that makes you faster, more confident, and more fluent. You're not only practicing vocabulary, but also training your brain to switch modes into English.
And another benefit is confidence. If you're used to talking in your brain in English every day, when you actually speak out loud, It feels more natural. You've already practiced the thought before, so you're not afraid to say it.
That's a really good point. I remember one learner who said, when I started talking in my brain, I felt like English was becoming part of me, not just something I studied.
Oh, I love that. Because that's the ultimate goal, right? Not just studying English as a subject, but living it, thinking in it, and making it part of your everyday life.
Exactly. And the best part is, it doesn't matter where you are. Even if you don't have someone to practice with, your brain is always available as your practice partner.
So, to put it simply, talking in your brain is important because it makes your speaking faster, your English more natural, and your confidence much higher.
Well said, Bill. And now that we know why it's important, let's get into the exciting part, how to actually do it. Okay, now let's get into the fun part, the practical steps. How can you actually start talking in your brain in English?
Yes, we'll break it down into small, easy steps that anyone can follow. You don't have to do them all at once. Just start with one and build from there.
The first step is simple. Use English for your daily thoughts. For example, if you're getting dressed, instead of thinking, I need my shoes in your language, say it in your brain in English. I need my shoes. I'm going to wear my sneakers today.
Exactly. Or if you're making tea, you can think, I'm boiling water. I want some hot tea. These little daily thoughts are the best way to begin.
The second step is to narrate your day like a storyteller. Pretend you're telling someone what you're doing, but only inside your mind.
For example, if you're walking to school, in your brain you might say, I'm walking down the street. I see a dog. The dog looks happy.
Yes, it doesn't have to be complicated. Just describe what's happening around you in simple English sentences.
The third step is to keep it simple. Many learners try to make long, difficult sentences in their head and then get frustrated.
Right. You can start with very short ones like, I'm tired. I need coffee. Then later you can add more. I'm tired because I didn't sleep well last night. I think I'll make some strong coffee.
Yes, it's like building muscles. Start light, then add more weight over time.
The fourth step is one of my favorites. Ask yourself questions in English and then answer them in English.
That's a good one. For example, you might think, what should I eat for lunch? Then answer yourself, maybe I'll eat rice. No, I think I want bread.
It's like having a mini conversation with yourself, and it's amazing practice.
And the fifth step is to use your imagination. Pretend you're talking to a friend, a teacher, or even a famous person, but only inside your head.
Yes. For example, you could imagine telling your best friend, today I had a busy day. I went to work and then I met my cousin. Even though it's not real, your brain is practicing real conversation.
And if you really want to challenge yourself, imagine the other person asking questions back, and you answer them.
Let's show a quick example. Bill, let's pretend we're both talking in our brains.
All right, so in my brain, I might think, I'm hungry. What do I want to eat? Maybe pizza. No, pizza is too heavy. I'll just make some eggs.
That's great. And in my brain, I might think, I need to send an email, but first I'll make tea. Oh no, I'm out of sugar. I should buy some later.
See? It's very natural. You don't need perfect grammar or fancy words, just normal, simple thoughts in English.
So those are the 5 steps. Start with daily thoughts, narrate your day, keep sentences simple, ask and answer yourself, and finally, use imagination with an invisible friend.
If you practice these steps every day, even just for a few minutes, your brain will get used to thinking in English. And once that happens, speaking out loud becomes much easier.
Now, Bill, I think it's also important to be honest with our listeners. Talking in your brain is powerful, but it's not always easy at the beginning.
Yes, absolutely. Many learners face some common challenges when they try this, but the good news is we can overcome them with simple strategies.
The first challenge is vocabulary. Some learners think, oh, I don't know enough words to talk in my brain in English.
Right. And the solution is use what you already know. Don't worry about difficult words. If you don't know how to say cucumber, just say green vegetable in your brain. Keep it simple.
Yes, that's such a smart trick. Your goal is communication, not perfection.
The second challenge is losing focus. Sometimes you start thinking in English, but 2 minutes later, you're back in your native language without even noticing.
That happens to everyone. The solution is short practice. Don't try to do it for an hour. Just do 1 or 2 minutes at a time. For example, while brushing your teeth or while waiting for the bus.
Exactly. Small, consistent practice works better than trying to do too much at once.
And the third challenge is perfectionism. Learners think, if my grammar isn't perfect, it's wrong, so I shouldn't do it.
Oh yes, that's a big one. But the truth is, your brain practice doesn't need to be perfect. Mistakes are part of the process. Nobody is listening to you, so it's your safe space to experiment.
I love that. Actually, I remember when I was learning French, I used to think in my brain, tomorrow I go market. Not correct grammar, but it still helped me practice. Later, I learned the right form, but at least I was using the language.
Same here. When I was learning Spanish, I had very funny in-my-brain sentences, but they pushed me to improve.
So, the big lesson is, don't worry about vocabulary, don't force yourself to practice too long, and don't try to be perfect. Just keep going.
Yes, if you accept mistakes, focus on short practice, and use simple words, you'll see progress much faster.
All right, so we've covered the basics and the common challenges. But Bill, what about learners who want to take this practice to the next level?
Great question. Once you're comfortable talking in your brain with simple sentences, you can make it more advanced. One way is to use English when you're planning or problem-solving. For example, think in English when you're making your shopping list or planning your weekend.
Yes, that's a fantastic strategy. Another advanced tip is shadowing silently in your brain. When you watch a movie or listen to English audio, try to repeat the words in your head, almost like you're shadowing but without speaking out loud.
Exactly. And here's another idea. Play with what-if scenarios in your mind. For instance, what if I traveled to London tomorrow? What would I do first? Where would I go? This kind of imaginative thinking makes your brain practice real conversations.
I love that. It turns your brain into a creative space for English, not just a place for daily sentences.
So, the advanced level is really about expanding beyond the basics, using English for planning, shadowing, and imagining new situations.
Yes, and once you do that, English really starts to feel like a natural part of your daily life. All right, so we've covered the basics and the common challenges. But Bill, what about learners who want to take this practice to the next level?
Great question. Once you're comfortable talking in your brain with simple sentences, you can make it more advanced. One way is to use English when you're planning or problem-solving. For example, think in English when you're making your shopping list or planning your weekend.
Yes, that's a fantastic strategy. Another advanced tip is shadowing silently in your brain. When you watch a movie or listen to English audio, try to repeat the words in your head, almost like you're shadowing but without speaking out loud.
Exactly. And here's another idea. Play with what-if scenarios in your mind. For instance, what if I traveled to London tomorrow? What would I do first? Where would I go? This kind of imaginative thinking makes your brain practice real conversations.
I love that. It turns your brain into a creative space for English, not just a place for daily sentences.
So, the advanced level is really about expanding beyond the basics, using English for planning, shadowing, and imagining new situations.
Yes, and once you do that, English really starts to feel like a natural part of your daily life.